week. And what we covered last week was talking about sharing media files on any platform, but in particular on Crowdcast, by using Minicam. And that could be static images, it could be recorded video, it could be video that you have on YouTube, and of course, it could be PowerPoint presentations. PowerPoint presentations, when people spend a lot of time developing a really slick, a really cool PowerPoint presentation with nice transitions from screen to screen, or indeed animations on the screen, and of course, often these days with embedded video on the screen that has audio on it, then when you share it, you want to be able to share all of those things. There's a new function on Zoom that allows you to import your PowerPoint, but of course what it does is it makes every screen of your PowerPoint a static image. So your transitions are lost, your animations are lost, your video is lost, and of course the audio that goes with that is lost too. What we showed last week was how you can do that. So at the top of the chat bar on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, you can see a link to last week's show. So if you want to catch up on that afterwards, then please do. What we're going to be talking about today is the ability to use multiple cameras. You might initially be thinking, well, multiple cameras and a number of other things, but you might initially be thinking, why would I want to have more than one webcam? Well, often you don't. Often one webcam is absolutely fine. But in my instance, in my case, I have obviously this webcam here, which is all very good, and that's pointing straight at me, and I'm lit, if you like, to be shown well in this web camera. However, I might want to switch to a camera on the side. If I've got another screen here, if I wanted to look at the content on there, if I do this, it looks like I'm looking away from you. However, if I switch to this camera here, then I'm looking directly at you and my second screen. So having a second camera for that purpose is really handy. One other thing you might notice, the difference in color between one camera and the other. What I can do is I can, let's just tinker with that a little bit. Let's just change the color so I'm not all washed out. And let's just zoom in a little bit. So again, when we're going from this camera to this camera, then we have the best possible version of ourselves being shown on screen. I did show an additional camera that I had down below. So my third camera, it's an older webcam. You wouldn't buy it now, but don't throw out your old webcams. If you get a new one, then you can use your second one for this purpose here, as you see, or you can have this one here. So as a for example, let me just put this little light on here. So a third camera pointing down here. If I was doing an explanation of a particular product, say I was selling something online or had an unboxing video, and I want to demonstrate something online. So this is my drone camera, and I'm going to be using this towards the end of the show. But this is my drone, and I could be explaining anything about any product that I might be selling online. Let's see, we've got a nice pair of headphones here I'd like to sell to you today. And having that third webcam allows you to do exactly that. So if you have an explainer video, then this is a great way of showing exactly what you have on screen. As I say, we'll come back to the drone. That's the secret for the end of the show. I'll come back to the drone just shortly. But as I say, getting back to where we are, what I'm talking about today is the ability to use multiple cameras. So you might think, how and why would I be using multiple cameras? Well, many people who are on Crowdcast are filming in different types of instances. They might be live streaming an event, might be a band on stage, where multiple cameras could be really handy. They might be filming for their church. It's often the case where you might have a webcam pointing at the priest or the vicar or the pastor on the podium, and a wider shot of the altar. Or James is talking about, can you use the camera on your mobile? James, you're getting ahead of us. We are going to come to that just shortly. But let me just explain, as I say, when you have the option of additional cameras, then you have the option of different shots. If you just want to be on screen, then that's great. But being able to step back from your desk, being able to do other things, it gives you much more flexibility in the types of shots that you have and the types of show that you put on. As I say, being able to switch from one camera to the other can give you that extra dimension. Now, I know a lot of people have the setup where they have backgrounds to their shots, and it might be that they want to look like they're in a newsroom. So if I was doing this on Minicam, then of course I could do that. So this could be a newsroom. Let's just check one that's actually a newsroom here. So I've got the newsroom behind me, and of course, you always see on TV when at the same time you've got on the bottom of the screen, you might have some text. Let's just get this on here. So a bit of text going along the bottom of the screen, and what you want to have on your background is something like this, where you're in a virtual newsroom, and at the same time you could be switching from camera to camera. So it might be that you switch to this other camera here, and you would have the same newsroom behind you. So let me just switch that there. If I do this, replace, and I'm going to switch this to the newsroom. So the same newsroom over to Jim in the studio, and here's Jim in the studio. So again, the ability to do that for different types of creative events that you're running can be really handy. I tend to, on balance, what I rather do is have a slightly blurred background than instead of a completely changed background. When you blur the background, you bring focus to the person who's on screen, and the background is there, but it's not distracting in any way, even if you've got silly flashing lights on. So having that is really handy. As I was saying, having those multiple cameras, you can switch between them. You can have someone else doing that for you when you're the presenter on screen. You can have, as we can see here, your title underneath the screen, and the ability to do that gives just that extra form of professionalism to what you're doing. So I'll just switch that text off there. Another thing that we covered in previous episodes was the ability to have floating logos. As we can see here, we've got the Manycam logo and the Crowdcast logo. For your needs, you could have the logo of your company, your logo of your client, the logo of the event that you're holding for that day, and the ability to do that is the main thing actually that people say to me takes your video up to the next level, because you look so much more professional. So James hinted earlier, he was asking, could you use a mobile phone on your for your camera? Yes. So we've got a camera here, we've got a camera there, we've got that camera over there for giving a shot of my desktop, but I can indeed use my mobile phone as a remote camera. Now, Manycam has itself a built-in app that connects directly to the desktop program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect exactly to that app. Let me just open that here. So on my screen here, I'm going to choose in fact, what I'll do, bear with me a second, I'm going to share my screen so you can see exactly what I'm seeing. So if I share my app window, and I'll share Manycam, so you should be able to see my Manycam on screen right now. Tell me if you're not seeing this. Okay, so on screen right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer to here. Here, and I'm going to choose the mobile device. And for mobile device, let's choose Stephen's iPhone and connect. So now what we will see when this comes through, when I allow it on my phone, is you'll see the camera from my phone coming through. We should do at least. Let's just double check that that's selected. Okay, Stephen's iPhone and connect. There we go. Now, what I need to do is mute the microphone here, so we're not getting me echoing all over the place. And what you can see is me looking at the screen, looking at the screen, looking at the screen. Now, we don't need to do that all the time. I'm going to take my headphones out very briefly here. But with this as a mobile device, I could choose to have a shot of anywhere in the room. I could choose to walk around. Best if I move this microphone around with me so you can hear what I'm saying as we go. We can see the lovely Glasgow summer weather out there. And you can see it set up in my laptop as well over here. But with your mobile device set up, you have lots of flexibility. Again, as I was saying before, if you had an event where it might be in a church, it might be in any other environment where you need to be on the move. You could be at a real life event. Remember those. You could be at a real life event where you've got exhibitors at an expo, for example. You could be walking around the hall and showing exactly how that works. Now, the ability to do that is really handy. You can see how messy or tidy my office is, by the way. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to switch back to this, because there's another feature I'd like to talk about. This other feature, being able to use your mobile phone as an additional camera, is great, and it's a great way of having additional flexibility in what you're doing on any of your shows. But what you can also do is you can share the screen of your mobile phone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose another app on my phone, which is called NDX Capture. And when I have that selected on my phone, I'll just click to begin broadcasting from the phone. And what you can see when I do that is choose NDI output, choose Stephen's phone display, and what you should see now on here, what you should see now is my mobile phone. Here we go. It's just taking a second to start broadcasting. So you can see my mobile phone there. I'll just close that down. What you can see here. Now, obviously, what you're seeing is my phone vertically. If I decided to open, now I'm going to take my life in my hands here. I'm going to open my photographs. You might see anything in here, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty safe. If I go to photographs here, if I tip my phone on the side, automatically it gives you this. So we can scroll through, and what you're seeing now in full screen is exactly what I'm sharing my phone. Now, if I go back to this screen here, not on Minicam, but this is exactly what you're seeing. So if I was trying to demonstrate how an app worked, then I could do exactly that. I could show it on screen. And what I'm going to do now, so if I was the maker of an app that was, let's see, Crowdcast. So let's open the Crowdcast app. So if I work for Crowdcast and I wanted to demonstrate how the Crowdcast app worked, if I was given a demonstration on the ways in which you could be doing that, these are Crowdcasts that I've been to. If I wanted to open any of these, if I went to a previous event, this one here, then what you're seeing on screen is exactly what happened in the Crowdcast. And if I tip it to the side, then you'll see exactly that again. Now, I won't play that for long, because what you're going to get...
Good morning. Thank you so much for...
I'm just going to close that. So the ability to share your mobile screen is a great way for training. It's a great way for being able to show exactly what can be done in that sense. One other really cool thing that you can do, for this, I'm just going to explain a little bit more while I come on screen. One really cool thing that you can do is you can share your mobile phone screen, and you can have your mobile phone attached to other devices. Now, I mentioned my drone before, and I'll come back to that shortly. But if you imagine that your mobile phone was connected to a gimbal, one of those things that stops your phone from moving around, then it's a great way in which you can then step back and be much more visible on screen. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go across the room. I'm going to connect to a mobile phone gimbal, and you'll see me on screen, and you'll see exactly how that works. So if I go back to here, let's just make this large again. As you see, what I've got on screen here is my mobile phone. I'm going to go over to my gimbal, and you'll see exactly how that works. So give me just 2 seconds. What I'm going to do is open up this app here, DJI Mimo, and I'm going to attach this to the Gimbal app here. So you should see me on screen now. I could, of course, use the camera on the other side to see the map on the wall, but let's not do that. Let's make it horizontal as opposed to vertical. As you can see, in this instance, I can then walk around and do whatever I want. Now, I'm just going to check that I'm not vertical on the screen here. Yep, So what I'm going to do is on Minicam, if I just go to this, I'm going to flip this so it's the right way up. Just move the microphone around so you can hear me. So I'm standing in front of this this gimbal. I'm streaming through the DJI gimbal. It's coming through Minicam and it's going out to Crowdcast. But if I do this, it should zero on my face. So now it's locked on. You can see that I can walk around the room. I can walk and talk and give a presentation and talk about whatever I wanted to. So if I was on stage, for example, then I could do exactly this. I could crouch down. I can stand up. It follows me around the room. I have my microphone here. So I'd want to make sure that I had a good audio connection. What I would do for that is have a radio mic. If I just fix them. Oh, here we are. My radio mic setup that I would typically use. Radio mic setup that I would typically use would be these little Rode radio mics. When connected to the smartphone, then this will transmit from transmitter to the receiver, and the audio connection at the other end is always first class. So being able to do that is a great way. So what you're seeing literally is what is shown on my screen here, and there's lots of flexibility in terms of what you can do with that. Now, piece de resistance, I'll just stop that there. I'm going to switch off the gimbal. Excuse my mobile phone being a little bit jiggled around. I'll just move my microphone back here. And one of the other things I wanted to show you was the ability to connect to other devices. So I did mention before my drone camera. I'll put this back to here for now. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open the app that flies my drone. So if I just connect this to here and this on here, set up the controller, and I'll set up the drone. And what you should see when I flip back to my mobile phone, please connect to aircraft. Sometimes in the setup it goes a bit slow, but I did this just recently where what I was able to do is fly up and over my building. So let me just rotate this image on screen. So what you are seeing is the right way up. And what we're seeing here is the camera from my drone, which and of course all the warnings that come up with that. The camera on my drone while I move it around. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to full screen on this. And yep, what you're seeing right now is the camera shot from my drone as it moves around my office. So imagine I was flying this. I could fly across the room. I could fly out the window. I could go up and around the building. In theory, I could be streaming live from my from above my building, which actually I have done, streamed onto Facebook. Now you might say, is he going to fly the drone live on screen? Well, why not? It's going to be a little bit noisy. Let's give it a go. Oh. Now, because the noise of the drone is quite noisy, I'm pulling the microphone down to me here, but what you can see is we're live streaming from the drone up there. Let's just move the camera pointing down to me a little bit more and lift the up a little bit. There we go. And reverse. So again, the flexibility with which you can attach any number of devices to your mobile, to your smartphone. Now I'm going to come down to land here just to make this a little bit more quiet.
Landing.
So on the one hand, you might think, well, that's a little silly. Why would you ever want to stream live from a drone? My point is that yes, there will be instances where you could and might want to, and maybe some instances where you absolutely should. But my point is that with NDI, which is Network Device Interface technology from a company called NewTek, you can be connecting all sorts of technology with cameras to your Minicam, and in turn, in streaming those online. There's another feature where I can connect a Skype call or individual people on a Skype call to Minicam and then stream those out. I'll show that on another show. But effectively using NDI technology, which is now built into Skype and now built into, oh, Louise has appeared, but she's late and she's missed the drone flying around the room. With the NDI technology, we can connect Skype to Minicam, and we can broadcast Minicam out to Crowdcast or any other platform. So what we've covered so far is the multiple cameras, the ways in which you can connect multiple devices to your Minicam and get those out there. I've shown how we can connect the mobile phone to the gimbal, and you can have it tracking yourself as you walk around the room, which can be really handy in lots of different instances. If I was a vicar or a priest or someone giving a presentation or a teacher at the front of class, then the ability to film yourself and stream yourself in that sort of scenario, especially nowadays when so much teaching and training is done online, then that sort of scenario can be really, really useful. And we've gone beyond that to show, even if it's just for a bit of fun, the ability to live stream online the camera from a drone that's flying 200 meters in the sky down to your phone, from your phone then to Minicam, and from Minicam out to Crowdcast. Now, while we've gotten to this point so far, can I ask, do we have any questions? Do we have anyone want to ask questions where we're up to so far? James, Louise, Andrew, and I think Jackie. Now, I should at this point out that we have a couple of polls on the show today. First of all, have you used Crowdcast for webinars? You'll see in the bottom of the screen the link that says polls. There are two polls there. One is have you used Minicam before, and the other is have you used Crowdcast for webinars. Andrew McCaskey is asking, still not able to get it work on OS X Catalina. Now, I have to say, when it comes to Macs, I am as much in the dark as you, Andrew. I have given Macs a good go, but I think having been trained on PCs all these years, it's a bit like writing in reverse. I just can't get my head around it. There are a number of tools that people have been using with Crowdcast for streaming and especially using RTMP, such as Ecamm, and those are particularly designed for Macs. And of course, there's a new product called which is, in the first place, it's going to work for Macs. They say that it's going to be coming out for PC soon. But I think that gives a hint as to the origin of these programs, where the designers have built a really cool program, but they are themselves biased towards Macs and OS X. I'm not saying that I'm one way or the other, but I am saying that I prefer PCs. Yes, I am actually. I'm showing my bias here. So Minicam, I should point out, works perfectly well on Macs and on PCs. Yes, it is certainly simpler to use than OBS. So I should explain that of all the other programs, there are systems like OBS, which is obviously free. It's in the public domain, and there are lots of additional bolt-ons that you can have with OBS. OBS, from my perspective, is really pretty complex for your average user. If you wanted to be using OBS on a show that you are putting out tomorrow, then you better get doing your homework tonight and quick style. It's not straightforward to understand. There are many options in there, but it's a bit like someone who's been using Microsoft Paint, then stepping up to Photoshop. There's almost too much to learn. It's a very steep learning curve. Whereas Minicam, is someone pointed out to me who preferred OBS, but said it's the KiddieCraft version. If you mean that it's easy to use and anyone can step in and use Minicam, if you've used PowerPoint before, then Minicam is an absolute doddle for you. So yes, Minicam is a breeze. You could be introduced to Minicam this afternoon and have a show in 20 minutes and use it. It would be absolutely fine. The basic things such as being on screen, having multiple cameras, having logos on screen, you can do that pretty much in seconds. And things like having titles under your face and so on. The flexibility to do that sort of thing like this is almost idiot-proof, and yeah, you have lots of flexibility with the ability to have these additional features without getting overly complex. Now, just to sum up, we spoke about multiple cameras. We were going to speak about lighting, but I think as you saw me going around the room, I have a number of bits of lighting going on. When you have multiple cameras, then yes, whatever you're going to be filming, you do want to make sure that the lighting is just so. And we spoke about the ability to use the Minicam remote camera device, the app that's on your phone. Going beyond that, we showed the NDI app. Now, the NDI app, I should say, is $9.99 in the App Store. It will be available for Android as well, probably about the same price. For £10, the ability to share exactly what's on your mobile screen is brilliant. It's perfect. If you need to be training someone on how to use a mobile device on a particular mobile app, such as the Crowdcast app, or indeed if you want to share content that's on your gimbal or even your drone, then the ability to have that functionality takes you way beyond what you had in your regular webcam shows webinars. So on that note, if we don't have any additional questions, I'm going to wrap up there. I'm going to have one last...